Hey guys, Professor Bill, Comic Book University. Well, wait a second for my voice to stop cracking. Anyway, what's up everybody? How y'all doing? Yeto, what's up Yeto? Hey, thanks for joining up on Patreon, brother. Appreciate it genuinely. Let me go and check out the Patreon so I can give some shout outs to some peeps. Oh, how's everybody doing today? Who all's here? Shout it out. Shout it out. Shout it to the world. Done it. Yes, here we go. Okay. So, awesome. Yeah, I'll do that in a hot minute. Say hello to everyone. Okay, so back over here. Chandler Chandler Knapp. Sorry, wife and I were just watching Friends. I think she's still watching it, which is just hysterical. So Chandler Knapp, what's going on, dude? Feels good to be here. Feels good to have you here. Unruly Simeon, peace right back at you. Bow. What's going on, Yeto? Paperbacks and soundtracks. What's up, Professor Jersey in the house? The Magic Man over here. What's going on? Yeto, did you end up playing Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3? Oh, no, I don't have the Switch. I never bought the Switch. I didn't realize it was already out. I was just in an EB Games today, too. I was just like, checking some things out. They had some of the, what do you call it, the Marvel Legends stuff there. I just didn't want to spend that kind of money on it. I really want the Juggernaut and the Hulk, but I don't care about the Colossus and the Wolverine that comes with them. Excuse me. I already have a pre-order for the cowboy hat Wolverine, which is good because I finally just got today Old Man Logan Wolverine, so that's awesome. So I can always just pop this guy's head off and put the cowboy hat head on top of there, and that'll look cool. He doesn't necessarily have to be an old man, so that's awesome. I'm really happy about that. I got a couple things here. I got a couple Minecraft toys that I didn't open up yet. Let's see. I don't know if you guys know these are out yet, man. We got Alex, because I've already got Steve in the diamond armor. So I got Alex. I've got a creeper already. Now I've got an Enderman, and I've got a pig with a carrot and stick on it, and a zombie with a trident. And I've also already got 2 blacksmiths, so I can make a little scenery there. Let's see. I bought another Stormtrooper, First Order. So this should be my 3rd one of this brand. I've got a Flame Trooper, and I've got another one of these, but from the Disney store, so it's like solid die cast. And then I've got... I can't find where my Kylo Ren went, so I bought another one. I know not a lot of people care about him. Here's something a bunch of people are going to care about. Ho, ho, ho. I got Goku and Vegeta. So I'm really happy with these. Like, here's Wolverine, who's naturally short, and they're even shorter than him. They have the bigger sized ones, but I don't want the bigger sized ones. These guys always appear like kids to me, like grown up, powerful kids. So I'm just like, hey, what's up? I figured, this should be awesome. Got a couple more things. Let me give you guys a little hint. I don't know. Oh, excuse me. Here, let me move these guys aside. Oh, I got, okay, this is a whole lot of fun. I got these 2. So the Dark Knight Returns Wonder Woman and Wonder Girl. I'm really happy I got those 2 because these 2 make the Dr. Psycho Build-A-Figure. Yeah, 2 characters make a Build-A-Figure, make a BAF. So I've got the whole Dr. That's awesome. That is freaking awesome. I got a Hobgoblin. I finally got Nuke. This is awesome. This makes me really happy. Oh, he's got a thing in the back for his knife. Well, I didn't realize that. Okay. You got to put his knife in there. I've got a, here we go. I got Captain Marvel. This is cool. And I got one more out of the box that, I just bought from somebody. Drax, the old school Drax, not the one with the bazooka, but the one with the 2 knives, which is the much better one. So yeah, I'm happy about that. I also got a couple more things. I got the blister boxes. I got Dazzler and I got Silver Samurai. I was thinking about getting Madripoor Logan, Patch. I was thinking about maybe getting him, but I don't know. Maybe. But these are the two that I really wanted. Like, I really wanted Dazzler because I love this version, not that, old disco version. I really love this version of Dazzler. And then, getting the Silver Samurai is hot. For me, I think that's cool. Also, let me throw a couple other things in here really quick. Let me see what else I got. Oops, this just bounced on me. Okay, I got Boom, Mr. Sinister, to build the Wendigo. I got Nightcrawler, Kurt Wagner. I'm in Canada, gotta show respect to the Guardian. And I got X-Force Wolverine. So, there's still Boom Boom and Cannonball that I didn't get. I am very sad that I was not able to get those. Oh. But, what do you call it? I am hoping to get those. And once I do, so here's what I'm going to do, guys. I'm going to try something new. Besides doing this, I also want to do reviews for toys. So I'm thinking about doing a new channel because I get a whole bunch of, stuff on this channel already. Like a lot of stuff. I can't keep on doing stuff on, just this channel because it's going to get to be a big cluster. So I want to start doing toy reviews over on the other channel. I don't have it picked out yet. Don't have any of that stuff picked out yet. But, ow, my eyes. But I will soon. And once I do, I'll start doing that. Awesome. And honestly, I would really genuinely, from my heart, I would appreciate the heck out of people beyonder, without a shadow of a doubt. I would definitely appreciate if everybody could subscribe to that when I actually have it up. Just because, check this out. I see some of these other people getting things, and I'm talking about finding contacts in China who are able to hook me up. I put this up on Instagram yesterday. You guys can go below and check out my Instagram page. I finally got my Boba Fett from my hookup in China. Yeah, I got a bud. And I've been looking for this ever since they came out. Ever since the first of the Black series came out. Then the next ones came out with the Bounty Hunter series with Luke and Bosk and IG-88. And I could never find it in the frickin' stores. I found all these things in the stores. I could never find the Boba Fett. So I had to go to China to get it. And I got it. Did I sound like Donald Trump when I said that? China. Anyway, my bud hooked me up. Yes. So, after that, yeah, I'm good. You know what? Let me put put this knife in the back of... I'll put a knife in his back. Put a knife in his back. That's cool. That's good. I like that. So anyway, yes, I am set up that way. I am genuinely happy. So, with that being the case, my audio. Sorry, let me move this back a little bit. Yeah, there's only but so much I could do. I could use my phone, but the phone will die after 20 minutes of doing this. So, I can do an hour and a half of talking, and yeah, you're just gonna hear I think a little bit of static or whatever. Yeah, I just heard about the El Paso thing. Well, what my wife just told me. Walmart, somebody went in with a gun and just started shooting people up in Texas, Texas Walmart. It's freaking ridiculous. Some people need to turn the gun on themselves. Seriously, if they're so upset at the world, and this is my honest recommendation to anyone and everyone, as a semicolon, someone who I was thinking about getting that semicolon on my wrist, but as a semicolon, I can honestly say anybody who's thinking about going out and shooting up some people, clean your house, make a nice meal, go out to dinner, whatever, go out to get some nice Burger King or something, just freaking chill out, and then go over and shoot yourself. I don't know what to tell you. Seriously, don't freaking shoot other people. That's just ridiculous. That's absolute absurdity. If you feel the need to pull the trigger on someone, you got a perfectly good target right in the mirror. Because yeah, that's just some nonsense. That's just some straight up nonsense. Walking in and shooting up a bunch of people. Growing problem of that stuff stopped, unfortunately. I don't know what to tell, but I don't like hurting people's feelings sometimes, but unfortunately some people, they want their feelings hurt. When Donald Trump came into office, He said the money that is being streamed to protecting us from terrorism locally, within the United States. I don't want any more people looking for homegrown terrorists. And I think it's the Department of Homeland Security. I could be wrong. I think it might be the NSA. Anyway, one of them, they were just like, hey, most of the problems that we have are not actually from Muslim extremists. We rarely ever have that. They're mostly from American citizens, and they're from these little cult groups. These planned acts of terrorism. You got like the Timothy McVeighs and all that stuff, And they said, well, I don't know what to tell you. Donald Trump says stop spending money on looking for those kinds of people. So hence we've had more school shootings. We've had a whole bunch of problems, and it's a killer. It's just, and unfortunately, like the Walmart thing might be a premeditated thing. It might not be. It might just be a thing where it's like, hey, let's go do whatever we're gonna do, and it's a shame. It makes me not want to go out any place. Generally, it makes me feel like that. I went to a Toys R Us yesterday, in Meadowvale and Mississauga, mix up, and I saw somebody, he's just like, hey, oh my God, Professor Bill. I was like, hey, how do I know you? He was like, well, I don't comment. I was like, oh, you're one of those people. He's like, I'm going to comment a whole lot more, dude. Holy crap, I can't believe I'm actually seeing you. What's going on, man? How you doing? I was like, oh, I'm doing good. How you doing? Like, I'm there with my kid, with one of my kids. I'm just there with one of my kids. My wife was in another store with the other kid, and we're just chilling. And dude shows up, shaking hands and everything, and yeah, I think to myself, what if this guy was dangerous? But what do you call it? Like in reality, it's just the idea of hey, shaking hands, saying what's up to everybody. What else was there? Something else. Somebody saw me. Oh, I was talking on Facebook, just one of the groups, and somebody just right away, holy crap! Hey, aren't you Comic Book University? I'm like, well, I'm Professor Bill, but yeah, I own Comic Book University. What's up? So that was cool. It's fun, like getting noticed. Saying it's fun, like just being out and all of a sudden, oh, hey, I know you. It's different. It's definitely different. Okay, looks like Black Lightning will be joining Crisis of... Oh, really? So they are going to actually cross him over. Cool. Very cool. Who's your pick for a Batman writer after Tom King? I actually said that in the Batman Secret Files issue number 2 comic book. I gave my my choice there. One God Tank. Who the hell is this guy? Scissors. Hello. What's up, dude? Yeah, anybody who's curious who I am, what do you call it? In the This Week in Comics video last Tuesday, I actually had the haircut. I was getting the haircut there. Just 2 hours after I got the haircut, I'd filmed the whole thing and I put it up while I was talking about which new comic books are coming out for Wednesday. I'm holding them up and the dude's cutting my hair and everything. So, yeah. I was on the hunt today for Beta Ray Bill at GameStop. Dude, I don't know if Big Bad Toy Store has them or not, but yeah, you need to find one of these bigger stores that sell stuff online, because I don't know if they're still going to be doing that. You can find it cool. If you're going to GameStop, do the pre-orders, man. Definitely do the pre-orders. I got my Beta Ray Bill like pronto. Let's see. Not sure about the story. X-Men and Fantastic Four slated for extra DLC characters. Oh, okay. DLC. Hopefully that doesn't mean you have to pay for them, because we already bought the game. Dora, what's up, dude? How you doing? Chandler, who's ready for House of X2? Dude, I can't wait. Yes, I did it. I clipped the hair, man. I clipped the freaking hair. I was like, I'm done with this. I'm done. Cutting it all off. So, yeah, you can actually go and you can check that out. I liked it. I thought it was fun. It was generally fun for me. The guy was cool. He was cutting my hair and whatnot. You can see he actually did another... He was trying to do a different haircut where it was short on the sides, and then the front came down to about the middle of my nose, but I was supposed to comb it over. He's like, you're like, I could tell that you're an Italian. And I was like, yeah, I'm Italian from Jersey. He's like, holy crap. He's like, yeah, I got family in Brooklyn. I got friends in Brooklyn. He's like, yeah, I could tell you're from, like the East Coast or something like that. That's awesome. He's like, I'm going to give you a, what do you call it? Boardwalk Empire. I'm going to give you a Boardwalk Empire slash Mad Men haircut. I was like, oh, that could look cool, but I didn't like it. I was like, yeah, can you just cut it a whole lot shorter, please? Because I just want to. And every time I've taken a shower since, I just walked in, I was just like, a little bit of shampoo, boop, like that, and just. I'm in, I'm out. I'm not sitting there pulling, separating my hair and trying to get each what. Dude, I hated that. I hated that. So this is the third time I've donated my hair. I think I am done with the hair donation. I can't do it no more. Can't. So is the original still dead? Hobgoblin, Roger Kinsley. No, I think he came back. I think he's back. Let's see. I got some heat. Toys, upcoming DC stuff. Oh yes, I got the DC multiverse stuff. This stuff came out, surprise! It's already out in Canada, and I went into a Walmart. I was looking around. I was like, what's this? There was the Dick Grayson in the Batman costume, and it looks good with the Batman. He just looks weird, but Dick Grayson looked weird as Batman. You remember when Batman was going through a 12 issues through time after Darkseid did the Omega effect on him? The Omega sanction, excuse me, somebody's going to flip out. Hey! Yeah, while he was doing that, going back through time, Dick Grayson took over, and he had to fight Two-Face and whatnot. Yeah, it was all that stuff. Anyway, they, what's the Gina thing? Damn, Gina! Damn, Gina! But, what have you. I saw the Dick Grayson. I was like, oh, wow. And then I saw right next to it, behind it a little bit, was the KG Beast. I'm like, get out of town. So I grabbed them. I threw them in my cart. And I start looking around. I'm like moving things around. Like, is the Alfred Pennyworth here? Because I want all 6 of the figures. I want to build the Killer Croc. It's a huge Killer Croc. It's gorgeous. I wish I actually had the pieces here. Actually, I can get them. Hey, babe. Never mind. I think she's sleeping. Sorry. Put the kids to bed. She's in bed. Like, she's just exhausted. So, but the the figure, it's the regular 6-inch figures. They got an Alfred Pennyworth though. That's the most important thing to me. If I can get my hands on that Alfred Pennyworth, that's stories for years. You know what I'm saying? With all my Batman figures, they got a Tim Drake figure. They got a whole bunch of stuff available for this thing. Anyway, it's the regular 6-inch figure. The leg comes out. The leg for Killer Croc. Oh hey, you know the green bag, the green Dollar General bag. No. They're in there. There's 2 of them. Could you just bring me both of them, please, in the bedroom? Anyway, yeah. So like the leg it's freaking huge. It's gigantic, and I can't wait to see him. So she's actually gonna bring them in and see what's up. Okay. Oh wow, everything just jumped big time. Okay. So I'm sorry I'm not seeing everybody. Oh, Dodora, talking about everybody. Please hit the like button. Thank you. Yes, please hit the like button. Thank you. That's one of them. You got the other one? Let's see. Oh, yep. You can put this one back. This is the one I wanted. Thank you. Oh, Bagel. Bagel has come in. So, I got a whole bunch of stuff, guys. Yeah, here's the KG Beast. Oh, great. Oh, there's both of them. So the KG Beast's knife I decided to bend on me. So you can see him, and here's the Dick Grayson. I took the Batman head off and I put the Dick Grayson head on. It's got the Batman thing on the back, and like the knives actually go in and come out. This thing will come out, which I don't need it to. But no, this is cool. I'm totally digging on these characters, man. They're awesome. Let me find the Killer Croc, because it came with the Killer Croc head and the Killer Croc leg. So I got both of them. Oh, here we go. Here's the leg. So here's Dick Grayson, standard 6-inch size, and here is the leg. So just imagine how freaking tall that this Killer Croc is going to be. It's gigantic. The mouth, I know I'm not going to find the mouth easily. The mouth actually opens and closes. Oh, here's the Flame Trooper that I just got. I got this guy, this Black Knight dude from Fortnite. He's cool. I got my 6-inch, actually it's like 6.75-inch Billy Batson. I got Freddy here, and then I got my Billy Batson, the Shazam. So anyway, these two are like totally. I've got the Shazam that's the same size as this guy, right up here. But anyway, yeah. So I got those guys. What else did I get? I got got an old school Han Solo because I can't find the new one. Oh, looky me, looky me. I got Mira. Happy about that. I got Eugene over here, same size thing. I got a, here we go. I got Orm, the Ocean Master. Happy about that. I just saw Merc yesterday, and I was thinking about buying him, but I was trying to get something from a guy. And, what do you call? He called just as I was looking at the Merc. So, oops, missed it. I forgot about it. I got Pyro from the Suicide Squad movie. What else I got in here? Oh, I got a new Ant-Man. This is cool. I really like this guy. He looks very cool. It's the Henry Pym Ant-Man. Oh, what else? I got a Thundercracker. I'm definitely happy about that, because when I finally get my hands on the Siege character, then I'll be able to use that. So it looks like the regular figure. I got a few things in here, man. Got a few things. Boom, 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 boom. What else did I get? Can I look around? Anything else? I got a Captain Phasma. Oh, there's another. Oops, just dropped a toy. Yeah, I got a Captain Phasma. I just dropped a gun. Shoot. And I don't want my cat to get it. Bagel, are you kidding me? You're sitting at the door looking to get in. Now you're looking to get out. Here we go. I got the other wild card with the other two heads. The black suits. So that's cool. Oh, and I got a Batmobile. A little Batmobile. That looks awesome. So yeah, I'm very happy about this particular turn-off. I got this Thor. Yep, all that good stuff. Oh, and I showed you guys the in my Instagram. Showed you guys I got the White Ranger. Really happy about getting Tommy. Comes with the Tommy head and everything. So anyway, I don't want to just sit here and go through all of the stuff I got, because I got a lot of stuff. But anyway, can you see why I want to do the channel? I want to do the comic or the toys channel. Oh, and I'm going to try and get my oldest son into Pokemon. So I got a Pikachu deck. Yay! I'm trying to get him into some Pokemon. All right. So let's see who else is. Dick Grayson Batman is my favorite period of Batman comics. He did it 3 times, but that one I was talking about was, I believe that was the most recent time. So yeah, it was always fun. Corey, what's up, Corey? It's okay to say that in regards to Hickman's opening debut, I only feel like I'm half keeping up. Remember to watch the ads too, everyone. Oh, I appreciate that. And yeah, you know what? I finally see on the algorithm, not the algorithm. I can't see the algorithm. I see that what do you call it? You guys have actually been looking at the advertisements, because that's really important to me. It's the only way that I make money. I know a lot of people. Nobody knows how YouTubers make money. I can assure you, the only way we make money is by you guys watching the entire ad. And I know it gets annoying saying that. I already see 2 people just clicked off. Well, goodbye, good riddance. Literally, like, there's no point. It's so funny. It's like, hi, so I'm providing you something. Do you think that you could, you don't have to pay me. Just watch a 30-second ad, maybe a 15-second ad, something like that. Would that be too much? And some people just like, I can't believe he's actually asking me to do stuff for him. Some people. Oh, and there go 3 more people. And I can honestly tell you, those 5 people, I have 0 interest in those people. 0 interest in those people. If they left because I'm saying, could you please watch an ad? Don't come back. I wish that they would say, how dare you, such and such and such, so I could just permanently delete them from the channel. I'm not going to feel bad about asking people to watch a lousy ad so that I can actually get paid. The idea, like, go work at McDonald's for an hour without getting paid. Watch what happens. You'll quit. Bagel the superset. What's going on? Comics are referring to superset. Now, Bagel the superset. Super cat. There we go. Oh, you're obviously on your phone. Because spell check on the phones are stupid. Oh, the ads come at the beginning if you don't have ad watch on or anything like that. You can't please everyone you invite on your porch. No, you're exactly right. Well, that's the thing. I don't even invite them to my porch. I literally just turn on the channel. I say, here's my stuff. People can watch. You can come up, you can come in. It's cool. Once in a while, once in a while everybody forgets. It is what it is. I'm not not upset about that. Anyway, so what all are we doing? Oh, I have another comic book that I have to actually review. Another Marvel DC comic book. So the DC, I did get Green Lantern Annual #1. I read it last night, but by the time I finished reading it, I was so freaking tired that I actually don't. Yeah, no problem. No, I understand what you mean by porch, Corey. I was so tired. I was like, I could do this review, but I'd probably fall asleep doing the review. I fell asleep at around 5:45, and I woke up at 6 on my computer, and I was like, okay, you know what? I got to go lie down. And I had to be up by 10 because I had to go out and pick something up. Oh, it's out there drying. Every time I buy a toy from somebody, I always wash it with soap and water. The Shadow King head, because I didn't want to buy the whole Professor X box. I wasn't interested in buying that. The new Marvel Legends figure with got the yellow chair you clip together and put in the seat there. So it's like from the 90s, that yellow thing that he somehow psychically moved around, even though he doesn't have telekinesis. But anyway, I didn't want to get that whole set. I don't care about getting Professor X. If I'm doing my stop motion, I can get a little picture of Professor X and just show his head. Like, he doesn't do anything. Professor X literally does not do anything, but it comes with the Shadow King head. And since I've got the Kingpin right up here, the Build-A-Figure right behind my Ironmonger, I think that'd be freaking awesome. So I'm just like, bam! Now I got the Shadow King head, so boom shakalaka. And if they ever decide to drop the, because they could, if they ever decide to drop the Professor X thing down to $20, I'll go buy it. And if I have another Shadow King head, I will simply paint over it and make it look like a non-Shadow King figure. It'll just look like, what's his name? Amol Farouk. So we'll just do that. Okay, you really want to know what happened between Magneto and Shadow King back in the 90s? Yeah. Yeah, I wouldn't mind checking that out. Because I know they went through something also. And Magneto... one thing that I really hope they do, I hope that Hickman remembers and keeps the idea that Magneto can also go on the astral plane. That's a big deal for me. I love that he can go on the astral plane. Has there ever been a story arc or run where Rasputin's siblings investigate their heritage? Yes, that was the one with, it was Colossus, limited series 1 through 4. They call it a limited, Marvel calls it a limited series. DC would call that a mini series. But anyway, it was the limited series, 4 issues, called Colossus. I can't remember if it was the first or second one called Colossus. It might have been the first one. But anyway, he went back and he found out that he was actually... Mr. Sinister was the main bad guy in there. His bloodline's actually really important because he is actually related to Rasputin, the major character. He was a character, but he's a real-life person also back in World War I. So, yeah, that's a big deal. Will you have Friends voice characters in your stop motions? Yes, Corey, I absolutely will. The people down at my comic book store, I'm going to try and get anybody I possibly can. In fact, I'm going to try and get a bunch of you guys too. Be like, dude, just record something. I don't care if it's a video or whatever. I'm just going to use the voice. But if if I put out some things like, can everybody please try and do this and this and this, and just send it to me through email or whatever, and then, I'll put it in. And then at the end of my stop motions, I'll actually have credits running. I want to put up the patrons, of course, which is important. And I'm also going to want to put up, all the people who helped out with voice acting, so that, and if I really like the way that some people do it, I'll actually ask you guys to keep doing this. Actually get a bunch of people down like that, because I think that could actually be pretty cool. Can put that limited series info in this feed so I can write it down. Let me try and find it really quick. Marvel Colossus #1. Let's see. 2008. Yes, that sounds about right. I think this was it. Wait, I don't remember if this was it or not. 2008. Was it that late in life? I really just don't remember. Colossus Bloodline. It was called Colossus Bloodline. Oh, please stop all that stuff. So yeah, just put that in here. Yes, I think this might have been the. I think this was the first one though. Still, um, where are we? We're right here. Boop, boop. Dude, we can still do it on Corey. We can still do it on online. It'll be fine. What do you want, Bagel? You want some foods? You want some candies? I know you do. Can't can't give you candy right now, kitty. Anyway, so let's see what else we got here. Hey man, new to the channel, Tyler Leedy. But I love the content. You made me obsessed with comics. That's my goal. You and other comic people on YouTube. Other comic people. I'm joking. There are a bunch of other comic people. You know, honestly, like the main guys, the big guys. Rob from Rob Explains. Benny from Comic Storian, and then eventually Sal from at the time he was TV Little House. Now he's Comic Pop or Comics Pop. Those three were the guys that actually made me say, you know what, I could do this. So that's kind of like a little bit insulting. Like, these guys are doing something. You know what, I can freaking do this, definitely. And one day, hopefully, I'll be as big as them. But we'll see. Game Changer, thank you for the $5, my miambre. I bought my first comic book in years off of your review for House of X. Keep up the good work. But the question is, did you like House of X? Did I do a good job? And which was the, because I actually did 2 reviews for that, the spoiler and the non-spoiler review. So which one of those reviews was the one that actually put you over the top for grabbing that? Because yeah, to me that was an amazing comic book, dude. That was an absurdly amazing comic book. So so what did the wife and kids think about their new dad and the haircut? And did they all freak? God Tank, no, I came home and I walked past my wife. On Tuesdays she cooks. That's the only day that she cooks, by the way. I cook the other 6 days of the week. She was cooking dinner. I came home from the comic book store. Yes, I got my hair cut at the comic book store. It's so funny, all these people walking in, they're just like, you guys do haircuts too? Like, right here? And it's funny because I wanted to be cool and be like, hey, you know, when you got pulled like I have, but they started doing it for me, like, for him, yes. And I was like, whoa, I feel like the mayor. So, what do you call it? Anyway, yeah, I came back, and she'd forgotten that that's why I was going to the comic book store, you know, not just for everything. Oh, no, James C., I didn't get the thing framed yet. No, I actually, you know, it's just out today. I was just freaking out today. Duh. Anyway, yeah, I have to go and get a frame for that thing. That was actually really dumb for me to not do that. And again, even just getting it laminated would make me happy. But yeah, I definitely have to go and do that because that's going to be a big frame. That thing is huge. You know what? I should probably grab that thing just to show you guys what it looked like. Hold on a second. I'll let my cat also. Come here, Bagel. Go now. You're not going to come out, cat? Well, that's on you. So here's, we're looking at the later one. Hold on. There, now I can see this live. So this is the one. It's like huge, as you can see. You see his name, and down there's the water damage that happened from the condensation. It's like right at the bottom of his name. So it just touches it, the water stain, the discoloration. The bottom of the thing there, and then the S and the T, the bottom of the S and the T. His name there. So it's like, oh no, oh, there you go. You can see it better like that. Yeah, and it's J. Scott Campbell and Nay Ruffino. But yeah, that kills me that happens. So yeah, I don't know if I can get a frame for something quite this big because it's huge. But like I said, it's kind of important. It's the only it's the only Stan Lee signature that I got. And then of course I got my picture up there. Me and the man. But anyway, here, let me put these back on. All right. Got haircuts and tire changes. First off, that says hair cults. A cult of my hair would actually be pretty funny. That Lady Hellbender story bothered you? Wow. Her monster was way too top. Way, excuse me, way too dog-like. Tire changes. That's just freaking great. Sweetness, sweet poster. Yeah, I like it. I like it. That was the last time that he came to Canada. It was for Fan Expo Canada, which yes, I should be going to. Today is the 3rd, so Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. By Tuesday, I should find out if I actually get my press passes. I'll probably be going anyway because Gotham Central, Carlos, my the comic book store owner, he'll get me in regardless. But I would really like to just be able to go there with the press pass and show up. You know, hey guys, press pass. You know, walk up to Donny Cates, hey man, press pass, and just Gail Simone, hey, press pass. Both of whom I'd really like to talk to if they can find the time. I don't want to harass anybody for it. Somebody was actually supposed to come on and do a thing with me today, and he didn't show up. I keep on going back and looking to see if he showed up, if he's going to show up and say something, and I don't see anything yet, and it bugs me a little bit, but whatever, it happens. I'm not going to tell you who it was. Maybe I'll see him next week or something. Anyway, I hear the mewing of the super cat. Oh, you hear her? Yeah, she was just meowing a little bit. Bagel, do you want to come up? You want to come up? Come here. Oh, yeah, she's actually trying to come up. Oh, you poor little kitty kitty. There's my kitty kitty kitty. Hello. Hello, my bagel, bagel, bagel. Really love to see what Jonathan Hickman has started to do to the X-Men. How powerful is Lady Hellbender? I'm afraid I know next to zilch about her. One of these days I'll do 10 things about, but we also just got her. Honestly, since we just got her origin story, I'll bet you there are plenty of other comic book channels out there that are just going to repeat the comic book. That's one of the things that bothers me is, they read a comic book and they just go back and start talking about the comic book. Oh, so in this comic book, such and such and such and such and such happened. Dude, I can read the comic book and get that info. That's one of the reasons why I realized that I can do a better job, I think, than a lot of these other guys out there. Because all they're doing is doing what anybody can do. They're just reading a freaking comic book, Oh, wow, I get to hear your voice when I'm reading a comic book. So what? It's like, talk about the comic book. How'd the comic book make you feel? Did you like the comic book? Did you hate the comic book? Did you finish reading the comic book and you want to whoop somebody's ass? I mean, what's up with the comic book? Tell me about it, man. Don't just tell me what happened in the comic book. Anybody can do that. Yeah, but anyway, so that's what a lot of the other comic book channels do. And I'm not pointing to anybody. I'm not saying this guy does that and this guy and all these other guys. I'm not saying that. I just a pattern is a pattern. New Origin comes out for a comic book character, and guess what? You got a bunch of comic book channels are going to do a freaking origin story for her, which we already knew. Long live and treats to the super cat. You know what? I can give Bagel a couple of treats because yeah, she loves her little treats. Let's see. Hit the like button, everyone. Let's support the channel. Whoa, 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 whoa! Jeez, she just tried to push me out of the way to get to the treats. I don't know if you guys saw that or not. Hey, what's up, Isaiah? What's up, Comics Watching? How you doing? So you just finished Last Hour on Earth #1. It's really good. Love how emotional you are with comics. I try because they really do. I don't know, man. I don't know. I wonder, when people say that, you get so emotional. I can feel your emotion with it. What are other people doing? You see her? She's grabbing my hand so she can lick my fingers. She's such an awesome cat. I just got her a new scratching post today. So she's got a couple of treats. Let's go bagel, bagel, bagel. Here. Okay. No. That's so freaky. Oh, but it's what she tries to do for me all the time. It's like she thinks I'm not going to give it to her. She's grabbing it with her paw. Yeah, you gotta give it to me. Oh, I love my kitty. I don't understand people who are not cat people. I never understood that. It's it's a cat. It's a cat. Cats are awesome. Right, Bagel? You're awesome. You're awesome. You don't want pets right now. You want the treats, right? There we go. Oh, you got the treat. You have captured the treat. Are you working on your hunting skills? Yes. You're working on your hunting skills. Oh, look at you. Your claws are actually digging into my back of my hand, huh? How many comics do you read a week? You can actually check my playlist. Guys, sometimes I know people don't usually check a whole lot of stuff, but on my front page of the comic book channel, this comic book channel, on the front page you can scroll down, and so not where it says videos, but the home page, and you can actually see. Whoa! Did you just you're actually biting my hand right now, Bagel. My finger. Your teeth are kind of sharp, kitty. We can't be biting Daddy's finger. Don't bite the hand that feeds you. Anyway, okay. Last one, kitty. Food doesn't help me with cats. Okay, so what was I saying? Oh, so anyway, you can scroll down and see my list of playlists, which is every week I do a new playlist of all the comic books that I review for that week. So that if ever you guys decide, you know what was the Wednesday that this comic book came out? Like, let's say if you want to say Astonishing X-Men number 26 or something like that. Whatever comic book you want, you can go and check that out. Find out which playlist that's in. Oops, sorry, Bagel. I'm sorry. And then when you find that playlist, it'll show you all the comic books that I reviewed for that week, which are the majority of the comic books that came out that week. Also in that list will be my This Week in Comic Books that came out in that week. So, boom, you'll be good to go. You can literally see, for the most part, all of the comic books that have come out for that week, and then you're golden. So, yeah, just go and check out my my playlists. And then you can all see how many comic books I reviewed that week, too. Usually like 25 to 35. That's usually, and it's a lot. Umut Teli, hello from Turkey. How about Nosilsin? Just Nosilsin, how are you? Welcome. And don't get too excited. I only know 2 words in Turkish. I know Nosilsin and I know Teşekkür. That's it. That's all I got. But I do have those 2 words. I love learning languages. Even if it's just like 1 or 2 words, then I still love learning them. The door, I was house sitting for some friends that had 2 cats. Sylvester, nice, did not like me and took a big dump on your bed one day. Oh, since then I've never been a cat person. Marked his territory, man. That's messed up. I'd imagine you've lost count of how many times you've gotten friendly fire scratches from Super Cat, right? No, I don't know. It's usually just on my hands or my fingers, and I've jacked my fingers up a lot because I was always into martial arts, and like not MMA martial arts, but traditional martial arts from back in the day, where Japanese style, I would actually condition my hands. I'm sure you guys can't see it on this, but if you ever meet me in real life, ask to see my the scars on my knuckles. I've got a lot of scars on my knuckles, where you can see that, you know, punching concrete and things like that, and actually get the cuts on the fit, like actually cut open my fingers, you know, my knuckles, and what do you call it? I've never actually had to get stitches on them, so it's never one of those kinds of cuts. But yeah, trying to, you know, conditioning the bones so that I can hit harder. And I did it a lot more with my right hand than I have with my left hand. 2 of the times that I broke my left hand, the pinky on my left hand, I've got the x-ray, one of them from s.h.i.e.l.d. The second time that I did it, what do you call it? That was actually me getting mad and I got into a fight with a guy. But the first time I did it, I was showing off and I was punching. I just kept on boom, 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 boom. I was working in a Sears in the automotive department. And there's this guy that was bigger than me. I was like, brother, you're a big guy, but I promise you, as strong as you are, I bet you I can hit harder than you. He's like, bull. You know, what makes you think you can? So I went over to the wall, full concrete cinder block, whatever, and I just started boom, 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 boom. And I wound up hitting, there was a poster there that I didn't realize was actually backed by metal. So I was hitting it, and I was you know, situating my hands tight for hitting the wall itself, you know, with the 2 indent fingers. And I wound up hitting my pinky on that, and my fist still hit the wall, but there was about a good 1/2 inch of space for this metal, like, riser. Bagel, I don't have any more. Oh, Sue-Ann, what's up? You're here. You just missed me feeding Bagel. And she was actually biting on my finger. I think it was, what, my middle finger or something like that? Yeah, it was my middle finger. Anyway, so yeah, this thing was like, um, those two words are enough for you. And what do you think of Tom King's Batman? Should he drop the Batman? He is dropping the Batman. Issue 82 is his final issue. He's done. And then he was actually taken off the book. And he's got a limited series, not a limited, a maxi series, they call it. A 12-issue series with Batman Catwoman, it's going to be called. So he can finish off whatever story he needs to tell there. Anyway, yeah, so that would technically bring him to 92, not the 100 issues he promised us. So anyway, yeah, so I that's how I wound up. I broke the metacarpal back here, so I didn't realize it was actually broken. I thought it was just swole, so I couldn't. I was able to close it and do whatever I always did, but it hurt to pick up the tires and whatnot. No, 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 you can't go up there, Bagel. I'm gonna have to put you down now. I'm sorry. I'm gonna put you down now. Okay. There you go. Good girl. Good girl. You want to go practice on your new scratching post instead of on our nice rug? Because Mommy doesn't like it when you mess with the rug. Yeah. So, yeah, that just, whatever, that jacked me up. And 3 weeks, I think it was like 2 weeks later, the swelling finally went completely down. And by the time it did, it had already healed. But it healed with, the bone is supposed to be like this. Instead, it healed like this. So that's actually what my bone looks, my left pinky metacarpal looks like. It actually looks like that. I've got the x-ray somewhere because I saved it. The second time that I broke it, getting into that fight, what do you call it? I went to the hospital there. They've got free medical in Saudi Arabia, and we don't have it here. Well, we have it here in Canada. We don't have it in America. I'm just saying. So yeah, I went there to get it looked at. And he's like, I can't get it fixed right now. I'm sorry. You can come back later. And I just never came back. I was supposed to do it within that week. Now they'd actually have to break it again in order to fix it. And it's like, why? I mean, you could feel it. If you ever meet me, you can actually ask. I'll let you feel it. You can actually feel the huge bump there, where the where the bone is like that. It's the only bone I've ever actually broken in my life. I've had my nose broken once, but it wasn't a major break, so that when I wear glasses, you guys can't see it now because I fixed them. They're titanium lenses, but what do you call it? I have to bend them in the right way because if I just put on glasses regular, they'll twist to the side like that because of the shape of the top of my nose. But so I just, it's titanium, so I just bend them back like that, and then they're straight across my brow. And then I broke the middle finger. Well, I fractured, so it wasn't a clean break. Just fractured the middle finger there. I was like 10, and I was leaning out my window, and I was coming back in, and the window wasn't in a locking position up, and it came down right on my hand, and it broke it fractured middle finger there. That's like everything I've ever broken in my life. Go figure. Yeah. So anyway. Let's see, what do we got here? What's your opinion on Secret Empire, Secret Invasion, and Siege? I talked about Secret Invasion when I actually reviewed every one of the comics. Secret Empire, when I did that. Secret Invasion and Siege. Secret Invasion was not the greatest story ever told, but we're still telling the story to this day. We still find little pockets of Skrulls hidden, mostly on Earth, but sometimes in other, solar systems and things like that, so it's cool. Like it may not have had the desired effect at the time. Excuse me. He loves you. But it my nose just got something stupid. But it had a good long-term effect. Technically, an even longer-term effect than Civil War did. And Civil War was one of the best, in my opinion, one of the absolute best stories ever. But Secret Invasion had a much longer effect. Siege, to me, was an amazing story. I loved Siege. I thought that was it was so epic. And it hit all the right notes for me. Not our bagel. Sorry, Sue-Ann. Have you recently... I gave her the treats, and now she's like, everything has to be treats. Every time I move my hand, she's thinking it's treats. Have you ever read any good comics more than once? Yes, yes, absolutely. I wouldn't say most of my comics, but almost most of my comics. What's up, Raven? How you doing? I was convinced on your review not to buy Superman Year One. Thought about it, but you convinced me it's not worth it. Sorry, I'm sorry, because it's Miller and it's Ramita Jr. Right? It should be good. It's just, in my opinion, it's just not. Um, I hate using the words like that, trash and garbage, for comic books, because unfortunately, that's what believe it or not, they still exist. The comic skaters, that's the terms that they use. I just hate using that, but whatever. I hear what you mean. For a book like that, I hear you. Let's see. You know what? Let me read my patrons real quick because why wouldn't I? So. Second Street Marvel, thank you. Aaron Carr, thank you. Eric Paul. Okay, it doesn't do. Oh wait, I can just click on there, right? Ractip Pacorn, Ractipricorn. Yeah. Okay, cool. I'm going to say that's what it is. Thank you. Kirk Ireland, thank you. Miss Megan XOXOX, thank you. Nick Anderson, thank you. Excuse me. Raven, thank you. Slayman, thank you so much. Okay. Raven upped his thing. I don't usually like to say that. Sorry, because I don't want to say when somebody lowers their pledge. But anyway, thank you nonetheless. Generally appreciated. Suan, thank you, and Taki Patrick, thank you. So, with patrons. You guys got your first thank you from me on the 1st of August. Tell me something. Everybody who got to watch my review of Batman Hush, the DVD. First off, you can see why I couldn't put that on YouTube. I actually tried to put it on YouTube with and just keep it private, and I would just send you, or unlisted, and I'll just send you guys the link. The second that I put it up, there was so much content on there that WB immediately flagged it before I even hit OK, and it was flagged so hard that they're like, no, this you need to just delete this. We cannot let you go live with this video. Like, wow. So I actually tried to do it on Daily Motion, and it wouldn't work there either. And Daily Motion has a lot more accessibility. So I simply made a Dropbox, and I put it in there, so you guys are able to view it that way. So anybody who did view the Batman Hush, it's only for you guys. Tell me, I didn't hear anybody say if it was good or not. Did you guys like that? All the extra stuff that I put on there was like 22 minutes of badassness. I literally, all I did was I had the camera on me as I was watching the movie for the first time, so you got my initial reactions to everything. I found some of the good parts that I was talking on, and I put those in, and then you saw I put some, like, a couple Family Guy skits on there, and a couple other little skits, when it was funny. Oh no, you didn't watch the thing yet, Raven. You loved it. Okay, awesome, cool. Yeah, I actually saw when you were watching it, because you were like asking, and I happened to be on at the time. It's like, Raven just asked you a question on Patreon. I was like, oh shoot, gotta answer that. So awesome. I'm glad you liked it. I want to try and do that stuff and actually let it be funny. I want it to actually be something that you guys are laughing your asses off. And I want it to be something that, like, this is something I can't put on YouTube. Because, again, I tried to. They flagged it immediately. And they said, no, you can't air this because this is not yours. Most of this content belongs to the WB. So, yeah. Oh, I might actually get a guest. I might get a guest. Let's see if I get a guest. It would be kind of cool, guys. Dylan! I'm super late. No. You're a wizard. Dylan, and everybody knows that a wizard is, one, really good at smoking and making ships that go through smoke rings and stuff like that. And also, really good at, what do you call it? A wizard is never late. Always gets exactly where they're going at the exact time that they meant to. So I might still get Super Year One only because it's DC Black Label, but that's it. That review was so hilarious. I've watched it probably 5 or more times. Well, I hope that you are watching the ads that came on. Okay, so yes, Gandalf, nice one. I missed Lord of the Rings too. Guys, yeah, if I hope you guys aren't busy because I'm about to have a guest on pretty soon, or at least that's the plan. So that is the plan. Let's see. Did he see this? He has seen it. Okay, so he should be coming onto my Skype pretty soon. Let's see. Let me get this whole thing ready for the Skype. I'll put this over here, out of the way, and then yeah, he should be here soon. I'm hoping, and it should be fun. It should be awesome. Aw, you guys are wondering who the guest is? You'll find out when he gets here. It's a he. There's a hint. So like, think about this. Think about this. You might say, that's so random. It's a he. I just eliminated half of the human population, right? Oh, here we go. What's this? Accept on Skype. Let's see how this works. I'll put this over. Oh. Yeah, I have to put this over here. Hi. May I call? Okay. I'm going to call him now. Let's see. Video call.
Hey.
Hey, what's up? How you doing?
I'm good. I'm outside right now. If that's all right, I'm headed back to my place. But
okay. Do you want video or no?
well, no, because I'd be holding the phone, looking like a SoundCloud rapper, and that's not going to help anybody.
Real like that? Okay, not a big deal. Not a big deal. So here, I'm just going to put this here, and then I'm going to. Everybody's wondering like what's going on. So let me just add this here. Screen capture, monitor capture. Boom, right there, and you guys should be able to see. You cannot see. Anyway, guys, we're talking to Bryan Edward Hill.
Hey!
So everybody say what's up. If you guys have questions, by all means, please ask questions of Mr. Hill because, like, this is a rare opportunity. We get to talk to the man, myth, the legend himself. How are you doing today, sir?
Oh man, I'm good. I'm good. Long week, you know how it is. I have a lot of things I'm doing, so.
That's the thing. I don't know how it is because I don't know how you do all the things that you do.
I don't sleep. That's usually what it is.
That's what I tell people myself.
You structure your time out. You know, I mean, I don't do like the Hollywood party bar thing. So usually, if I'm out, I'm either at the TV show Titans, you know, or I'm doing some research for something, and a lot of times I'm just at home, just working. You know, I spend most of the time working, and very little of my time out just kind of randomly socializing in Los Angeles, and you know, that helps you be able to organize your productivity better.
That's awesome. Wow. Just nothing but wow. Anyway, so, yeah, I think I mostly wanted to talk, personally, I think I mostly wanted to talk about, what, are we ever going to get Okay, we got some questions coming in already.
Somebody asking about Bonehead?
Yeah, somebody's asking are we ever going to get Bonehead.
I get a Bonehead question about every week.
It was amazing. You know that.
So, well, here, let me break down exactly what my involvement was in Bonehead, so everyone who's listening, who are fans of the book and appreciate it, thank you, can be very clear about what my part was in it and how much effect I have kind of over that project. So, you know, I've done a lot of work for Top Cow, as some of you may know. I wrote a book called Postal for a long time and done some other stuff with the Witchblade universe, what have you. And I was approached by Matt to... Sorry about that, I'm outside.
No, as long as that wasn't about to hit you.
Oh, no. I was approached by Matt to help Roald bring his bonehead vision to life, right? So what I really did was I wrote the first couple of issues, and then I just talked to them about organizing their narrative structure so they could do the rest of it, right? But it's not really my project. I wouldn't call it a Bryan Hill joint. So, what they're going to do with it in the future, I honestly don't know. I believe Rawld does have social media. I don't know what it is, but I know he's on Instagram and Twitter, I think. So I would just hit him up and ask him. Because it's part of the whole initiative that's happening with Sunny Go and these brilliant creators out of Indonesia. And I know there's a toy line they're working on, and they're doing some interesting things, but I really don't have any updates in the future of Bonehead, I'm sorry to say.
No big deal. You only did the first 2 issues, I remember, and you gave him the script for the rest.
Yeah, I just gave him some bullet points. I mean, here's the thing. So, different cultures have different storytelling traditions, right? Mm-hmm. And I've done a fair amount of work in Asia. I wrote a Thailand animated feature about Muay Thai and ancient Thai legends, and I've written a screenplay for a Chinese film, or I've done a draft on a film. It's a film called, it's called like Skyfire or something, is what they've called it now. It's a volcano movie, and I did a draft of that. So I've done work in Asia. So a lot of storytellers from those regions don't have an innate sense of like 3-act structure, right? Because their stories aren't governed by Greek traditions of storytelling.
Okay.
Yeah, that's why if you watch like some of the great Korean cinema, it's kind of hard to predict. Kind of like, where is this the end? No, this is the end. No, you know what I mean? Because we're not trained to kind of line up with their narrative structure. So what I was doing was really just saying, okay, if you want to get Western audiences to really embrace this, then you might want to work in some more 3-act structure or 5-act Elizabethan structure into what you have, just because Western audiences are trained to take that information in when it comes to comics. Now, manga, completely different story. You're doing a manga, do whatever you want, because those audiences aren't trained the same way. But if you're doing traditional floppies, you're really appealing to people that have read Big Two, right? Mm-hmm. DC people, Marvel people, who are very much used to that kind of story structure. So that's really what I did, was just kind of help them, get in sync with those principles. But I didn't really change their story very much, and I might have tweaked the dialogue here and there, but I don't want to detract at all from their creativity, because it was their creativity that really drove that book.
Mm. Okay. It was an incredible story. Freaking incredible story. The thing that's killing me the most.
Yes.
Not about Bonehead though. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I've got to get to it. Look here. The first time I ever saw your work was in but I'd forgotten about it. Was the Miles Morales Spider-Man, the annual.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yes.
Right.
I remember I actually asked you on Twitter the one time when you did the X-Man story, the What If X-Man story. I said, "Is this the first thing you've done for Marvel?" And you told me the Miles Morales. I'm like, I'm such a jackass. Duh. I read that. I reviewed that. I forgot that you'd done that one. So the
well, even I was wrong, Bill, because the very first thing I've ever done for Marvel was the Amadeus Cho Hulk one-shot I did, actually.
Okay. I was just looking at that on Comixology, and I saw that you did something for over there also.
Yeah, I did a one-shot with Amadeus Cho as part of the... Oh, man, I forget the name of it, man. It was Year of the Monster or so, I don't know. But I did a single issue story there. That was my first Marvel work. And then it was Miles Morales.
Okay, cool. I'm sorry, I'm reading some of the comments. People are just shocked that you're on. And
I'm on! Sorry, guys. My bad. I thought it was an hour later, and I checked my Twitter. I was getting ready to just holler at Bill, say, hey, ready to go. And then I see Bill's like, you're late. And I'm like, oh, no!
I didn't talk like that to you.
No.
I didn't talk like that to you. Nothing but yes. Plus, you're the only guy you're the only person out there who has my my full name and address. So you could dox me. I got to be really nice to you.
No, I don't dox people. You know,
I know.
we weren't raised that way. So
I didn't know what doxing was until earlier this year.
that's good. You don't need to know what it is, right? That's not something you want to know.
So let's see. Okay, so here, that X-Man What If story. I don't know
Yeah.
if anybody remembers that or not, but I think it was the only X-Man What If story that came out. There's a whole bunch of What Ifs that came out at that particular month. And holy crap, you blew my mind with that. You were still doing Bonehead at that time. You were doing them, those first two issues. And when I saw that X-Men, yeah, it blew me out of the water. You used cyberspace as the astral plane. And yeah, literally, I'm not joking when I say this. I'm not trying to blow smoke up your ass. When you did that, you changed my mind on what comic books can... Not my mind, but you changed my expectations of what comic books can be.
Oh man, well that's really flattering. Thank you, Bill. Well, look, if you look at the ideas around the X-Men, you can see the William Gibson influence in like Claremont's work, right? You can see that like cyberspace, cyberpunk, futurism, whatever name you want to associate with it, was certainly an influence on X-Men, even from like the designs of characters like Cable. So those two worlds have always been linked, I think, spiritually. And I was talking to Chris Robinson, an editor over at Marvel, my editor on that book, about why there isn't really a hit cyberpunk comic. It's this huge genre. It's an aesthetic genre. People are amped about it, but comics just really haven't done it. There was a series called Dark Minds that I liked as a kid that came out a long time ago. And then you have the manga. Obviously, there's plenty of it in manga. But I just always wondered why a form of fiction that was so aesthetic never embraced one of the most aesthetic forms of prose fiction, right? Of cinema fiction. So from there came this idea about doing a what if, with a cyberpunk bend. And to Chris's credit, he gave me a lot of rope to work with and to do some cool things. Now, personally, I think that the book is interesting. I think the art is strong for both artists in the book, and I think there's some good ideas. I wish that I had more time to explore those ideas. I think I put a little too much into one issue because I had so much I wanted to get out. Yeah. It's kind of like, I was the fast rapping Eminem. I was like rap god. I was like, you know what I mean? I was just like too much.
We're about the same age, so you remember Chip Fu from the Fushnikins?
Oh, totally.
So
totally.
Yeah, there you go.
And I think I needed to ride that beat a little more. So
I agree, because when it was over, I remember I didn't ask you about it. I don't like to bother people on Twitter, but I remember thinking to myself, this has to be made into a series because this is just way too good, and there's no way it should legally be able to stop here.
Well, I will tell people listening, and I can't give away details, but the upcoming Fallen Angels that I'm doing as part of Hickman's X-Men initiative, I'm working a little bit in that same space. And I don't want to give too many more details than that, because we're keeping it deep under wraps.
Okay.
But I will say that if you enjoyed what I was doing with that issue, then you're probably going to get a really good experience out of what I'm doing with Fallen Angels.
That is great. How did Fallen Angel, and just tell me, stop if I can't ask you these things, but how did Fallen Angels come up? Did you approach them? Did they approach you? Because Fallen Angels is a little like, everybody loves it who's read it, but not many people have read it. So where did this come from?
Well, I'll tell you, Hickman and I kind of go way back. So back when I had a book called Romulus, an image book, I did the Image Expo. And that's where comic book creators that have image titles that are upcoming, they kind of go and they pitch their wares so that store owners can be aware of what the books are and hopefully bring the orders up, make the store owners more comfortable with what you're doing so they know how to recommend it to readers, like that kind of thing. Okay. And I was there at the same time Hickman was there with his book Black Monday Murders. And I've been a big fan of East of West because I liked the lonely, kind of nihilistic Western vibes of that book. And I struck up a conversation with him and really dug the guy. I just thought he was an awesome guy. And you say things, right? Oh, hey man, it would be great if, you and I worked together on the thing, and it's just talk, right? It's like, you know, 50 Cent bumps into somebody somewhere, like, yo, yeah, man, we're gonna get an album. Doesn't mean you're gonna get an album, right?
Yeah.
But, Hickman reached out and said, hey, we're doing this thing. Would you be interested in being a part of it? And I was like, yeah, for sure. I don't honestly have a lot of time to do a lot of different books. Now, between the television show, screenplays I'm writing, other pursuits I have, I can't just do everything, right? So I got to be a little careful about where I put my time because I don't have a great deal of it. But, when they said, hey, you can work with s.h.i.e.l.d, and I was like, which one? And they're like, no, Jim Lee. And I was like, oh, Jim Lee? Really? That kind of got me in, because that's the character I've always wanted to work with, too. So I can't give any more details than that, but that's essentially how that came about.
All right. Wow. Okay, yeah. Everybody here is excited about, like, people are bringing it up and everything. So I'm glad that you brought it up, because I figured that you wouldn't be able to talk too much about it, but...
Well, I'm really excited about it, too. It's like I don't get to do a lot of science fiction. Mm-hmm. It just hasn't been how my comic book career has evolved, but it's probably my favorite genre, that and horror, right? So Fallen Angels is really going to house all of that energy. So all the energy I have to give kinetic science fiction with like a futurism vibe. Apologize for this truck. That's right here next to me. Sorry, that's my security detail.
Okay.
I never go outside without my bodyguards, and that's just what that is. So no, we're good, Ted. We're good. Thank you. So,
is that Tom King's old bodyguard?
No, I got like 7.
Oh, he only had 1, and for a short time.
Well, because Tom's a killer, so he can just, he can just. See, I'm soft. So I got to make sure nobody gets to me. All right. See, if someone gets to Tom has plans. See, I don't have plans. So I need to make sure nobody actually gets to the kid. So that's my goal in life.
All right.
But yeah. So, if you look at the comics that I do, you'll notice I don't double up on genres. And I do that because I need a work to be able to, kind of capture all of the energy and love I have for the genre. So if you look at like my work on Angel, that's where my horror love is going. Okay. Because I don't get to work in a lot of horror right now. But in Angel, I do. I can just kind of embrace it with both hands and then just dig in and tell a really compelling horror story, kind of filtered through Joss Whedon's original vision. So same thing with Fallen Angels. Like, I don't get to do a lot of kinetic, hard-edged science fiction. And, this is the place where I get to do all of that and capture that, like, kind of renegade outlaw energy that I think is kind of part and parcel of a cyberpunk life experience. Even though this isn't a pure cyberpunk book, we're definitely, like, walking in some of those footsteps.
Okay. Fantastic.
Shout out to Mike Pondsmith, creator of Cyberpunk. If you're listening, Mike, big fan of your work, long time.
All right. What do we got? Shoot. Okay, you know what? Forget this. Tell me about Karma. Where did you come up with this idea for Karma? Because when I first saw this character, Detective Comics, I'm just like, who's this going to wind up being? Because every time we see somebody with a face closed up, it's like, oh, it's really Two-Face, or it's going to be whatever. And then when we realize it's its own character, that was crazy. Where'd you come up with this idea?
Well, for that story, so I was on Titans. I was on set on Titans when Chris Conroy from DC reached out and asked me if I was interested in doing a run in Detective Comics, right? And I honestly didn't think I was going to get that call. Certainly didn't think I'd get that call that early into superhero work. You got to remember, when I got that call, I had done like a one-shot for like Marvel or something. Maybe I had done a short story for DC. I don't even remember. But I wasn't a guy that was like, yeah, I should be on that list to hold Detective Comics for 5 issues. You know what I mean? So it really came out of the blue, and I think a lot of that honestly had to do with just social conversations I would have with DC people about Batman. You know, we would just start talking about Batman, and I would just say this about this, and this is really interesting and all that. And so when I had an opportunity to tell a 5-issue story, I wanted to engage the battle between the two Batmen. And by the two Batmen, I mean, you have that incarnation of like righteous anger, the barely controlled maelstrom of vengeance that is Batman. Criminals are a cowardly and superstitious lot, Batman. But then you also have this idea of Batman as a father figure, right? The Bat family, the Bat dad of it all. And I wanted to create a villain that put those two aspects in opposition. Someone that's like, no. You don't get to evolve past that. Because when you wrecked me, you were like this legend. And now I see that you're all human. And you're humanizing yourself. And if you humanize yourself, that means that I was taken down by just another man. And I refuse to believe that. So I need to build you into a thing that was worthy of hurting me. And that was sort of where Karma came from. That idea. Of a guy that encounters Batman and has a horrifying experience that sort of fractures his mind. And all he can hold on to is, I need to harness this, right? I need to turn this into something that means something. And that kind of will to power is very similar in a way to like Bruce Wayne and how Bruce Wayne has approached life. And I really like this idea that, unlike a lot of the Gotham characters, sometimes Batman can just make a monster and not even remember he did it. It's like, that guy, Fleet Delmar was a guy that Bruce Wayne likely forgot as soon as he hit the plane and left like the countries he was doing overseas working. Wasn't a main focus. But sometimes those people that aren't a main focus, we become their main focus, right? And we can't control what people do with the pain that we give them. And so that was really what that was about, right? It was about that. It was about not being able to control how someone else handles trauma. And you see that sort of engaged by, like, the Duke Thomas of it all, how Bruce is responding to his trauma, how he's bringing Jefferson Pierce into the situation, all those things. And contrary to popular belief, there was no plan for me to write an Outsiders book while I was doing that arc.
Literally, my next question.
It wasn't necessarily a setup for it. Now, when they say, like, hey, would you like to bring Black Lightning into this? Your mind kind of goes, are you guys doing, like, an Outsiders thing? But it was never something that was spoken to me as, this is the purpose of this. I was just happy to get my 5 and get my trade, and I was like, cool. Because how many people get to say they have a trade of Detective Comics that they've written, right? Yeah. So I was totally satisfied with that. So when the call came in later asking me if I'd be interested in doing an Outsiders book, I had to really think about it, Bill. Because I'm like, ooh, man, that's different than getting in on 5 and then getting out. Now you're talking about a monthly title where you're holding these characters and you're doing things with these characters that's significant. Do I have the time to make that commitment? Do I have the energy for that commitment? Do I have the imagination necessary to make that a great experience for readers? And so I was kind of waffling. And to be totally honest, I checked in with Tom King. Because Tom and I are friends. Like, we don't see each other a lot, but we talk a lot online. And I really respect how Tom just puts honesty in his art. And he bleeds into the work. Like, he's clearly, like, exposed as a human being when he works, right? And I have a lot of respect for that. I have the utmost respect for creators, storytellers, artists of any kind that don't hide in the work. And so I reached out to him and I was like, what do you think? And he was like, well, if you think you can do something good with it, then you should go ahead and do it. And so I gave it some thought, and then I said, yeah, okay, let's go ahead and try it. Let's try it on and see how it works.
Okay. Well, you definitely got into the mind of this character, because, like, I know the story. But you know, when you say it even more about how this trauma actually worked, you know, I know not a lot of people want to necessarily get political, but you were able to get political and hide it so well that I didn't even realize it until I'm just now thinking about this now. We go and I'm in Canada now. You know what I'm saying?
Right on.
But like, you know, I'm a former soldier, U.S. Army infantry, and
Yeah.
I know sometimes you go overseas, you wind up doing what you know what we're supposed to do, and somebody winds up getting hurt, and you're trying to make things safe. You wind up making more enemies by following a mission order, you know, and then you come back and it's like now you've just technically made it worse. We've just technically made it worse. What do we do with this hurt that just happened over there? And that's what you just did with karma. And I somehow didn't put the pieces together to realize that you were. I don't know if you were doing it intentionally or not, but I'm seeing a political message there.
Well, you know, if you look at my work, I try not to be heavy-handed politically. I try not to get in the soapbox. And to me, politics are just an extension of philosophy.
Yeah.
And philosophy is the formalization of ethics, right? So if you're engaging ethics, you're automatically engaging politics in some way. And I think that's what people mean when they say, well, every work is political. It's not that every work can be ascribed to one political side or another. It's that politics are simply the shadow created by the monument made up of our philosophy and our ethics. So I think if you're engaging things in a philosophical, ethical way, people are going to receive a sense of a political message, right? So even if you look at American Carnage, which is a book that has express thematics of politics kind of woven into it, for me, it's still a book about ethics. It's still a book about philosophy. It's not, I'm a liberal, sure, everyone knows that, but it's not me standing on my liberal soapbox telling everyone how I think they should think, right? I don't do that. I don't tell you how to think. What I do is I present things in an honest way, and I leave it up to the reader to figure out how they feel about it.
That's what I've seen also. I know there's some people who get upset. I know you've dealt with a lot of nonsense, people trying to internet you on the internet, as you would put it.
Not honestly, Bill, not that much, man. I mean, you know, like occasionally, you know, somebody will try it, but I don't get a lot of it. I think part of that is I don't really play. You know,
Yeah.
how many times are you going to throw a ball at somebody who's not going to throw it back? You know?
I don't know. I don't know. It sounds like I'm patting you on the back a lot, but the way that you're able to handle people, I try and actually talk to people. I'm the dumbass who thinks that everybody can be saved. You just look at it and you're like, yeah, here's the facts. Put in between two pieces of bread. That's your lunch.
Well, yeah, it's not I'm not skilled at changing somebody's mind, right? Like I just don't. So maybe you have that skill. I don't have that skill. But you know, if someone wants to have a conversation and I can see that there's a willingness to have ideas challenged, then I'm happy to do it. I also am not dogmatic, right? So I can learn at the same time. Like I'm not an expert on things. I don't know the way, right? I know a way, but I don't know the way. So yeah, I mean, there's a time and place thing. But if somebody is just set to, you know, to try to trigger me, or they just want to get their clout up by getting into a back and forth Donnybrook on social media, I just don't have time for that because that's too much work and it doesn't make me any money. Like you got to pay me for that, right? You know what I mean? Like if you want that experience, no, I don't do that for free.
Yeah.
You know, then I got to go like debate Ben Shapiro, and then I got to make a few stacks, and then we can talk about it. But you know, I'm not a political commentator, right? I'm not a sociologist. You know, that's not what I do. So I just leave that to people who are invigorated by that, or people who are experts at that, and let them hash it out, and then I'll deal with the vagaries and the vicissitudes of human emotion, because that's where I live. That's where my art lives.
You graduated from NYU.
I survived. Yes, I did.
You survived. For screenwriting.
For film and television production. Actually, I went to be a filmmaker.
Production. Sorry. I'm trying to remember everything because I closed everything when you were late.
I was late. Well, in my mind, I wasn't late. In my mind, I was on time. It was just in your reality, I was late.
I got you. I just got finished telling somebody a wizard is never late. They always get here exactly when they meant to.
It's like string theory, like Michio Kaku. Like we got to think broadly, Bill. So
Nice. See
there's
that?
a reality in which I'm early, right? And there's also reality in which I'm late. But if we just come together in the middle, then we live in the reality where I'm on time.
I love that you can quote Michio Kaku.
There you go.
Man. All right. So you brought up American Carnage. So
Yes,
I got to ask the most important question that everybody's wondering, or at least I'm
of
wondering.
course.
Why do you hate Richard so much?
I don't, man. I don't. I've always had an affinity for characters that had to go through things, and Richard in a lot of ways is based on my experiences growing up. I'm not biracial. I mean, a lot of people are biracial in a way, right? I have like Native American blood. I think I got some Irish in there somewhere. Last name is Hill, but meaning like both my parents are black. Um, but I was poor when I was growing up, and I was a scholarship kid to a high school where everybody else was rich. And I lived in between worlds most of my adolescence. And that was not an easy task, you know? Trying to figure out where you belong, um, what your point of view is, what your truth is, right? It's a hard thing to do. So Richard is an analog, really, to that experience I had growing up in St. Louis. Um, and it wasn't easy for me, so I wasn't going to make it easy for him.
Yeah, I don't want to give any spoilers for the end of the comic book, man. When does the trade paperback come out?
Oh, I mean, I think it's in a couple months. I don't have an exact date.
Yeah.
I don't know if there is an exact date, but I know it comes out this year. And I'm really looking forward to that because I wrote it for it to be a sit-down, cover-to-cover experience. Um, if Vertigo at the time, rest in peace Vertigo, had been releasing like more full volumes, I would have preferred to do it like that. But the way that they released their books meant that you had to do monthlies. So I broke it up into monthlies, but I always meant it to be like a sit down, get a drink, and read it cover to cover experience. So in a lot of ways, I think that the collected edition is really the right way to approach that material, if there's a right way. But I think everyone who's picked it up so far and sent me all these messages on Twitter, I really appreciate it. I mean, I've gotten messages from people on the right wing, people on the left wing, people whose planes have no wings. You know what I mean? And that's great because that's what I wanted. I didn't want one side of a thing to feel like I was attacking them for the whatever, or have a side feel like I was just giving them an anthem for their point of view. I wanted a messy, complicated story because we are messy, complicated life forms.
Yeah. I love American Carnage. Absolutely love
Yeah,
it.
I mean, you were holding it down on YouTube, and I appreciate it.
Thank you. My absolute pleasure. So, according to you, I got it wrong. You did not have Ghost Dog in your head for that ending, huh?
No, I mean, look, when I was a kid, not a kid, when I was probably like NYU, so I guess we're talking like 20, 21, people used to call me Ghost Dog all the time
Oh,
because I was like a black dude with a goatee who wear like black hoodies, listening to like the RZA, reading the Hagakure, right? And I was doing that before Ghost Dog. So people who knew me saw Ghost Dog and they would be like, Bryan, yo man, I know they're giving you a check, right? They can't just make a movie about you and not give you a check. And I was like, what are you talking about, man? Ghost Dog. I was like, oh man, that movie ain't about me. Man, I went and saw that movie and I was like, I think I need a check.
Forrest Whitaker stole your look.
You know? You know? But no, I mean, so it wasn't like in my head in specifics, but I don't know, maybe it was like kind of knocking around in there somewhere. A lot of times somebody will read my work and be like, oh man, I really liked how you use this aspect of The Godfather, or how you use this aspect of Othello or Hamlet. And then you're like, well, I didn't mean to do it, but I'm gonna nod my head because they're making me sound real smart. But with you, Bill, I will only be honest. So there was nothing intentional there, but if that's what you got out of it, that's awesome.
It is, but then again, with you explaining your background like that, makes perfect sense. You were literally just doing you.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. I mean, I was deep into that stuff. Like, well, we're going to see. My dad died when I was a kid. Dad died when I was 7, so I was raised by my mom, and it was hard. It was hard growing up without a dad.
Mm.
So, in a lot of ways, pop culture kind of filled that spot. How I would define like manhood. Um, what kind of thing I could like point myself at to try to become, right? And I don't think my experience is that isolated, especially among comic book fans. I mean, a lot of us, we come to these stories because we're going through a difficult time, and what these characters are going through kind of help us see our own way, right? It's like the cycle, like you were hurting, you found this form that made that pain easier to deal with. Then you get in a position where you can create more in that form to maybe help other people with their pain, right? So for me, like writing is like a service industry, in a way. It's a way for me to hand something back to that other kid who's like me, whether she or he is, whether they're white or black or Latino or Asian, whatever it is. We're all kind of going through it out here. And so pop culture was really kind of important to how I framed myself. And then because of like superhero stories and Batman and everything else, I started studying martial arts. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna do that, right? And that's gonna help. And so then I did that, and from there I started reading about samurai philosophy and Bushido, and that kind of thing. And when you're a kid and you feel like you're at war every day, which is what I felt like growing up, because I was poor, but I was surrounded with this money in the daytime, and then I'd go back to poverty at night. So I was dealing with a lot of shame, and I knew I couldn't just stay there. I had to do something with this education, didn't know what I was going to do, right? So when you feel like you're at war constantly, the Hagakure makes sense to you. Like samurai ethics make sense to you. Bushido makes sense to you. And so I grafted towards those things. Now I'm like super mellow. Part of that is I'm grateful to be successful, and I've managed to accomplish a lot of the things I wanted to when I was a kid. And so now my real focus is to create work that I would have needed, during those times. If that makes sense.
It 100% makes sense. I studied martial arts when I was younger also. Bushido Kai was probably my favorite one just because of it was almost like, Aikido, where it's very traditional,
Right.
So,
and I think as a kid, as a young man, I think I was hungering for some discipline. I was hungering for tradition. Yeah. And I was able to find that through studying the martial arts. I needed that regiment in my life to help discipline a lot of this young energy that I had. I needed some yin, some funneling. So I could harness those kind of forces, man. So yeah. I mean, that's why it led me to hoodies and the RZA. So,
do you mind me asking how tall you are?
I am 5'11".
Okay. So,
but if you ask me in public, I'm 6'2". I'm joking.
Done. What's his name? The guy who played Luke Cage, 6'8", right?
I think Coulter is. I mean, he's human technically, but like he might be like the next stage.
Yeah, 23andMe says he's human, but
right. It's like my first Hollywood gig ever was a Dolph Lundgren movie that I wrote, right?
Oh,
and I wrote that movie. It's called The Russian Specialist. It's it's not the best thing, but it's got some heart.
Right?
No, that was the first like studio sale. This was the first thing I'd ever sold.
Okay.
Was this Dolph Lundgren piece, and
Gore was the first thing you sold to Universal, right?
Gone.
Sorry,
it's still called Gone. Yeah. So that came after the Dolph thing, because I sold the Dolph thing, and then I had a real dry spell where I just wasn't getting any points on the board, and I just kept at it, and then eventually got the Universal thing off the ground, and then I moved out to LA, and then things started opening up, man. So it's always a grind. There's never really an overnight. But when I was working the Dolph thing, they flew me out to his house in Spain, and I got to hang out with him for a month and work on the script. And like he's another guy like Mike Coulter. Like technically he's human, sure, but he's like a Mensa guy. He's a black belt in Kyokushin, which is one of the more brutal schools of karate you can find, and he was a serious competitor in Kyokushin. It's not just forms and breaking concrete. Like he was going up against like real heavy hitters and putting guys down for a long time.
Yeah.
So he's another guy.
Plus, he's got a master's in chemistry, right?
Chemistry, yeah, from like MIT. Like he's next level, man.
Yeah.
He's a next level dude. And I tell you, I couldn't have found a more supportive and cool guy to have a first like job with. Like he taught me a lot in that time. He just taught me about his experience in Hollywood and filmmaking, and he told me some things to look out for. I mean, he really kind of gave me a social education about what I can expect in the game. And I still use a lot of those lessons to this day. We still, trade emails from time to time and get together and have a cup of coffee every now and then.
That was awesome. Somebody's going to kill me if I don't ask. What martial art did you study?
Oh, okay. So I have a black belt in Taekwondo.
Okay.
And then I also studied Hapkido. And then I moved on to kickboxing and some other stuff. Just kind of like mixing it up. Because by the time I finished like the black belt, and I'd learned a little Hapkido, then I felt more comfortable with just kind of going to a gym and learning things. And so I'd done that in St. Louis, and then so I went to New York with NYU. And then during NYU, I would just kind of go to gyms and get taught stuff. Because you know how it works. I mean, and that was before MMA was like a real thing.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a thing, but it was super brutal. You remember those early days when it was just gladiator stuff?
There were three rules: no fish hooking, no kicking in the nuts, and you can't, or no attacks to the nuts, and you can't kick if you're wearing shoes.
And if he's dead, you have to stop.
Well, yeah.
Right? So it was like super.
I think that was by the second one.
Right?
Those first ones, yeah, there were almost no rules.
It's like the first Gracie days, like the first Shamrock days, right? That's what we're talking about.
Yeah.
And I would just go in there and I would hit the bag a little bit and do a little light sparring with people, and people would just show me stuff. And so that's what that became, for me. It's like kind of like this collage of things. But I'm not like great or anything. Like Joe Rogan can dust me up. You put a bag in front of me, I can make some pops happen, but I am not a dangerous man. But it was really good for me, like spiritually, personally, like that kind of thing.
So I'm sorry, did you say Hapkido or Aikido?
Hapkido.
Okay, that's what I thought you were saying. Just wanted to make sure.
Yeah, I've never actually studied any Aikido. I was a huge Seagal fan when I was in high school.
Before we knew better.
Oh yeah, I mean, because Above the Law worked on me.
Yeah. I
was like, oh man, he was in the CIA and the HBC and the 123 and the 456, and I believed all of it, right? Yeah. So I was just like, oh, that's the dopest thing ever. But I couldn't find an Aikido school in St. Louis, Missouri that was reputable. And the most reputable school that was close to where I lived was a Taekwondo dojang. The Kwan Young Nim was a young Chil Ro who had trained the Olympic team. And he had a school there. And then his nephew would teach us things after class. And his nephew was South Korean military. So he would just teach us random stuff. And that's where I learned the Hapkido from. It wasn't structured. So we would just do, we'd do Taekwondo, and then we'd be doing those forms, doing the sparring, kind of classic stuff. But then, after Master Rowe, he left, his nephew would come in, and he would just be like, Bryan, let me show you something. And he'd be like, okay, guy comes at you with a knife, this is what you do. And this is how you do this, and this is how you do that. And that's where I learned some Hapkido stuff. But it was like really, really informal, a lot of that stuff. Okay. And I only did Taekwondo, one, because of proximity, two, because I'm a bigger guy, but I didn't want to be clumsy. Mm-hmm. And I thought, like, okay, well, this is cool, because this will keep me in the balls of my feet. It's got a lot of impractical techniques, but it'll keep me agile, and it has. It has.
Nice. Okay. Um,
on this episode of the martial arts podcast.
dude, I talk about whatever. Okay, so talk to me about Killmonger because this
Oh
was.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I think that this had to have been the thing that just anybody who wasn't sure about you then knew for sure that you were the real damn thing when Killmonger came out.
Well, thank you, Bill. Like, so that was another case of I wasn't sure if I was going to do it when they reached out. Like, Will Moss, editor over at Marvel, reached out to me and said, "Hey, Bryan, we're doing, you know how Evan Narcisse he did Rise of the Black Panther. Well, we're thinking about doing something with Killmonger, and we're wondering if you're interested in doing it." And I, like Black Panther, like I think I'd just seen it or something. Like, so, well, is there? What's this undiscovered country, right? What do we do? And I told Will, you got to give me a weekend to see if I can find something that's interesting and new. That isn't just, here's some Killmonger because the movie's doing really well, right? Um, and I sort of looked at his comic book history, when I was semi-familiar with it, but I wasn't fluent in it, so I had to get fluent in it. And I wanted to tell a story about the, like, tragedy for me is when a character could make a better choice and they just don't, and it crystallizes for you that, wow, there was another future for this person. It's how I think about Anakin Skywalker, right? Like, you know if Anakin had just trusted Obi-Wan, if he had just told him, Obi-Wan, I'm in love with this woman, I don't know about Senator Palpatine, but he's offering me the world, can you help me? But he couldn't do it, right? He just couldn't do it. And that's, it resulted in the figure that is Darth Vader. So same thing with Killmonger. I wanted to tell a story about almost his last chance before damning himself onto his path, and what that was, you know. And I wanted to explore the thing that happens when we're in the middle of a self-destructive righteous quest, because righteousness is dangerous. There might not be a better drug than being right, right? Like, no one's more dangerous than someone who thinks they're right. So having him in this place, and then having something show up in his life, friendship, and that comes from an unlikely place, mentorship that comes from an unlikely place, love that comes from an unlikely place, that all kind of give him chances, opportunities to put the brakes on this. But he just can't. He just can't let go of that anger. He can't let go of that rage, right? And that's what I wanted to write a story about. And so I told, I kind of put it down in a couple paragraphs, sent it to Marvel, and they were receptive to it. They had my gratitude for that. And then when Juan came aboard, I was like, ooh, great, this is going to slap, because Juan's work is fearless. So, I'd seen his Punisher work. I knew what he could do. So you're like, oh, okay, this is awesome. It's like, this is the kind of creative vibe that I've been looking for in comics. And we just kind of threw it down, man.
Yeah, when that moment where he saw his god, and she said,
Yeah.
"I'm talking to you." Yeah, I still remember when I did the review, man. I literally thought to myself, none of us get to see God. We have to guess if God is there,
Right.
And for this guy to actually see God and turn his back on her like that, I just thought, I don't know how seeing the idea that he can't have a redemption, or at least not in this story arc, is just insane. And I love that you made this so that it's not part of the comics, it's not part of the movie world, it's its own thing somewhere in between. It was perfect.
Well, like, I'm not, religious in a, like, crazy traditional sense. I have my own brand of spiritualism.
Mm-hmm.
But I think, whether, God sent you or not, what have you, God can arrive in the form of conscience.
Yeah.
God can arrive in the form of empathy, right? And I think we all, in little ways, turn our backs to the face of God. And then we all like close our ears to the voice of God, right? However one wants to define God for themselves. You know, like it's not like you were talking about social media. That moment when you see that tweet and you're like, I could say something really hurtful to this person. And it's witty and it's snarky and I could say it, and you get that little feather twinge that says, or you could just not.
Yeah.
You know, or you could let it go. To me, that's God. Right? Like that's like the God that's within. So again, however you define God. Because I'm not like a church on Sunday kind of dude. But with Eric, you know, I wanted to visualize that and augment that experience, you know, in more literal terms. And T'Challa has this beneficial, matronly relationship to Bast, right? You know, he feels favored by her. He feels that Wakanda is blessed by her. Well, Eric thinks he's the prodigal son of Wakanda. And so he thinks that mother goddess that T'Challa can reach to when he needs solace, to Eric, that's the mother goddess that's abandoned him his entire life. And the question you ask is, well, why did I deserve that? Right? And that's a universal thing. You know, when we go through things and we struggle in life and we have a hard time and we see someone else who seems to have an easier time than we have, and then you wonder, like, well, what did I do to deserve this? Why was I not good enough for happiness? Why was I not good enough for opportunity? Why was I not good enough for peace? Right?
Yeah.
And that's where Eric lives, which is like a super hip-hop way to think. You know what I mean? There might not be a more hip-hop way to think than Eric Killmonger, right? Because Eric Killmonger is like the DMX of the Marvel Universe. You know?
Okay, that was good.
You know, I'm coming with my dog! You know, like, he's like that dude, right? So, I just wanted to kind of let that energy live, you know, and to have a character who is your protagonist make those kinds of choices. So that, you know, we can identify. Because we've all had that moment where conscience has come to us and we're just too mad. And we're too right to listen. And we turn our backs. And so I wanted to speak to that.
I'm seeing a common theme in your... Do you feel that writing comics for you is therapeutic?
I mean, I guess there's a measure of catharsis in all types of art, Bill. You know, like, you know, I think it's there implicitly. If it's therapeutic, it's therapeutic, you know, again, going to hip-hop, it's therapeutic in the same way an Eminem record's therapeutic for him, you know? Like, yeah. I think, yeah, like, comics certainly are the more, like, raw expression of my thoughts and feelings. Because it's the most radicalized art form I work in. TV is great, but it's also corporate. Yeah. Screenplays are great, also corporate. I mean, you got independent films, I'm working on one that might come together and all that, but for the most part, corporate stuff, right? And comic books they're part of a corporation, but because I think they're still in this subculture. And the books I tend to work on, if you notice, you know, you're not seeing Hill jump on Green Lantern, right? Yeah. You're not seeing Hill jump on The Flash. Not that I have anything wrong with those books. I love those books and love the people that work on them. But I don't think that's the best place for my voice. Like, the operative word in Batman and the Outsiders is outsiders. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, that's where I live. And so, yeah, I think it's certainly cathartic because I try to always be honest. Because my personal belief with any kind of art, whether it's music, writing, film, painting, sculpture, whatever it is, if the creation of the art does not change you in some way, then you might not have put enough into it. You know, like you should be able to look back at your work and read it, look at it, listen to it, whatever, and be like, oh yeah, I remember that time. But I also, like, I evolved because of it, right? And so that, yeah, so I guess it's there. I mean, and you know, and I love the readers I have, because I'm not like, you know, I'm not like Tom King or Scott Snyder or something like that. But what I love about the readers I have is a lot of them, they send me tweets, they send me DMs talking about the personal experiences they had with my work. And that's really the reason I do it. I don't do comics for the money. I don't need the money.
Yeah.
I do comics because I know reading is an intimate experience. Reading is not an experience you share in the moment. You can share that experience with others in dialogue afterwards. But we all kind of read alone, right? And we're open in a very unique way with storytelling. Hold on, there's a fire engine here. I broke the microphone. Okay, hand over the mic, done. And because I know that people are going to have that experience. Because I was the kid who was writing quotables from Chuck Dixon comics in my, English binder growing up. You know? I was that dude. I was the dude, reading Frank Miller and writing really bad Frank Miller stories growing up. And I know that people do that. I know that people, they grip onto these things and really give them a lot of themselves as readers. So I feel like I have a responsibility to give as much back.
Nice. Okay. This feels into it for me. What's something that's made you cry? Reading, movies, something.
Ooh. When was the last time I cried?
You're in public right now, man. Go ahead.
No. I'm thinking through it. I'm thinking back to it. Man, I tell you what. Wasn't a full on, cry, but a tear did drop. I have a real soft spot when it comes to animals.
Okay.
And I was on Twitter, and Keith Olbermann will retweet shelters who are about to kill a dog. Okay. You know, like the dog couldn't find a home for the dog. The dog might have some developmental issues, whatever. And and this is kind of a Hail Mary out. If anyone can take this animal into their home, please do, because we're going to put this animal down. Because space and the other thing, and I was reading, and it was, I don't know what it was, like a boxer or something. And there was just something so sweet about this thing's eyes. And it was all the way across the country, and I have a dog and a cat, so I couldn't take it in. And I was thinking, this dog has developmental issues because of something it endured growing up. Yeah. It wasn't born like that. It something happened, right? And now it doesn't trust because it learned it couldn't. And it's hard to deal with because that's a dog you have to raise. You kind of invest into that dog. It's not the same as a child, but it can be. In your heart, it can be like that. And it just it crushed me thinking about how unfair it was that this animal, this soul, might have to get put down because it was traumatized by our failures. And I don't know, man, something about that, it just really just kicked me in the nuts, Bill. I was just so I had to unfollow Keith Olbermann. I'm like, bro, I can't follow you anymore. You're killing me now with this. You're killing me with this. So I have a dog, a little dog. He's a little puggle. His name is Bogey. I had a dog before that named Yoda, who was part Akita, part Chow or something. And Yoda was a rescue, and he died with us. We had him for about 2-3 years. We didn't know how old he was when we got him, but then we found out how old he was because he just got sick. But we were able to be with him, And and for anyone who hasn't had a pet like that in their lives, it's really hard to not look at them the same way you look at a person. They have fear, they have love, they worry, they do these things. Maybe they don't have the same deductive reasoning we do, but there's definitely a soul there. And I just, you're just thinking about this dog, and it's somewhere, and it's afraid, and all of the stuff, and it just might get put down because it couldn't find a home. I don't know, man, it just bummed me the hell out. So that's probably the last time I felt and that was a week ago, but that was the last time I really felt that deep sadness. So sorry, Keith, I can't follow you anymore, bro.
You know what? I'm gonna have to look up Keith Ober and see what he's doing lately. I remember when he used to be on MSNBC. I used to love
Oh,
his takes.
yeah, totally, man. Like, he was funny, he knew sports, he was my guy. But, my guy was killing me with those tweets.
That's right. He went off and he started doing sports after that. I remember his political talk. Um, okay. Why is he telling us this sad story?
Because he asked me.
Because I asked him, man. Have you been
Because
here?
Bill, I was going to talk about rainbows and lollipops. And then Bill's like, when's the last time you want to jump off a building? And
Well,
I'm like, all right.
did
Since Bill, he's
Superman
asking
show
me, I'm
up?
going to go in. I'm going to
Wait,
go in and say it.
when you were teetering at the edge, did Superman show up?
Yeah, yeah, right? So I have to blame Bill, y'all.
This is all good. I just like to ask things that not everybody else is asking. Somebody's saying that Postal is coming back. That's you? You're doing Postal again?
Yeah, I think issue 1 is already in stores. And yeah, we're doing another run of that.
Okay.
As I was saying before about like how, like working on something changes you. I'm a different person now than when I did the first run on Postal. And so now my Postal work reflects that a little bit. It's still Postal, but it's Postal filtered through the prism of my experience to date.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that number 1 I think came out a couple weeks ago. Number 2 will be on the way end of this month, I think. So yeah, it is going on. It is still out there.
All right. I'm going to check it out. I got to go back and look at the original 3 issues of Postal.
Yeah. You'll see the evolution, man.
Okay. Nice. Okay. Last thing. I got to think of something good. What's something you've done that you think that everybody else should do? Experience.
Ooh, that's a very good question. Should is a very powerful word.
Yeah.
It's not a word I use often, but let me think. Like, everyone else should experience. Well, my flippant answer would be riding in a Ferrari or driving a Ferrari, right?
Okay.
Like, I'll say, you know what? If you have an opportunity to be in a Ferrari, take that opportunity.
It's like
Like,
that.
if you're like getting ready to go to work and come and work stuff and you walk outside and like a Ferrari pulls up, you don't even know the dude. Dude leans over and says, "Hey, man, you want to ride around the block?" Say yes. Be late that day.
All right.
So that's like the more service answer. I had to make up for that dog story. So so you can't keep it too real. You know what I mean?
You bastard! You almost killed me. Oh man.
And,
I was swallowing when you did that. All right.
you had to balance it out. See,
You got that.
because I was like, I had to bring Slim Shady back out because I was too Eminem. You know what I mean? So like, I had to bring Shady out a little bit. But
Okay.
besides that, I definitely think going to a foreign country. Um, and that's not something that a lot of Americans do. I mean, you're Canadian, and maybe Canadians have a different viewpoint in travel. I know in America, it's shocking to me how few of us travel abroad.
Agreed.
And I think for me, it was really eye-opening to be outside of America and experience another country, but also see how other people viewed me as an American.
Yes.
Because I'll tell you, man, like, growing up in America, you're like, it's like sort of like what American, Black American, like wrestling with the history of the country and the rest of it, and you have all these complicated feelings,
Mm-hmm.
you know. But when I travel overseas and people were just like, "You're an American," I never feel more American than when I'm not in America
Mm.
because I feel like I represent the country,
Yeah.
and I feel like people are treating me like an American,
Mm.
and there's no qualifier.
And there is no one way that people view Americans, or I imagine anybody, but like as an American who's traveled a lot, yeah, like there's no one like, oh, this is the reaction you always get when someone overseas finds out you're American. No, there's
Oh, totally. It's
right.
always different, man. And like I found myself becoming surprisingly patriotic when I was overseas.
Mm.
And I consider myself somebody who challenges a lot of social norms. I challenge the system a lot. But when I was working a job in China, and someone I was working with, they started going in on America, and I was like, well, hold up now.
Yeah.
I was like, wait a minute now. We can have this conversation, but we also have to talk about some of the things that you about though,
Yeah.
right? And it was a really interesting experience because I found myself advocating from a position that I would not have predicted that I would advocate from. And I think I gained a greater appreciation of America from having been overseas, right? And kind of understanding where we are in the world, you know? Because the Canadians may be a little different, but Americans, we tend not to see ourselves as part of the world. We tend to see ourselves as American. And America is like a country, there's an invisible fortress, right? But when you travel overseas and you see like just how culture is spread around and the currency of popular culture and how, I was in Shibuya, Japan, and I'm having a conversation with a group of hip hop kids, like Japanese hip hop kids. And you see like, oh man, like they connect to America through like Vivo. But it's also remarkable how much of it they understand from that stuff. And then you realize how important your work might be. One of the most surreal moments of my life was when I was working on a writing job in Thailand, and I went to a bookstore in Bangkok, and I found a trade paperback of Postal there. And I was like, whoa, I have work around the world. And for a kid that grew up in a single-parent home in St. Louis, that was a real moment, right? Yeah. So I think it's definitely worth it, man. I think it's definitely worth it to get a passport. You should have a passport anyway. If you're an American and you're listening to this, even if you have no intention of traveling, get a passport.
Yeah, they're good for 10 years.
You're going to need a passport. It's like the most powerful ID you can possibly have. Get a passport. But beyond that, yeah, travel, man. Experience a different place. Go somewhere, get your heart broken by somebody who speaks a different language. It's good for you.
Believe it or not, I actually expected that answer from you.
Did you?
I really did. I expected that from you. When you started talking about the Ferrari, I'm almost disappointed.
Well, but I am real about the Ferrari. Like, get in the Ferrari. Like, it's a joke, but it's not games.
I hear you.
So,
All right. I'm going to let you go because you're clearly... Are you standing in one place talking to me, or are you walking someplace?
No, man, I'm like holding the block down, making sure everybody's safe,
And your 7 bodyguards.
And my 7 bodyguards. No, well, it's so I was on the way back to the place, and I was like, oh, yeah, checking with Bill. And I was like, oh, I'm like a little bit late. Then I realized I was a lot late. And I'll be totally honest, I was late because I went out to get some shoes. I thought I had another hour.
In Toronto.
What's that?
You just got shoes here in Toronto.
Yeah, but I needed some white ones. The ones I got some shoes in the 6, but they were black, which is cool. But I need the white ones though.
The ones you showed on Twitter that I saw were white. Unbelievable. This guy.
No, those are my black. Those are my Adidas Boosts, and they were black. I promise you. If you go back, the only shoes I put on Twitter have been black shoes. But I wanted to get a pair of white Ultra Boosts. Okay. And I was like, I thought I had time to go get shoes. Didn't realize I didn't. So
You know what? You're living the life right now, man. You are. Seriously. I look at your life. It's not just power moves and whatnot. You are an affluent person. You are successful now. That's great for a kid. You're actually from Chirac, right?
St. Louis.
You're from St. Louis, okay. I see.
But I was born in Chicago.
You were born in Chicago.
But I don't remember most of it. I moved to St. Louis when I was about a year old.
Okay.
So St. Louis is what I know. But yes, I was born in Chicago.
Okay. I was in Fort Leonard Wood in Missouri.
I know about a lot of my family are military.
Nice. Or not nice, depends on your viewpoint. But okay, so yeah, you just come off as this very influential and affluent guy. Every time you talk, it sounds like you've been there. You know that. You got the T-shirt.
I'm not that affluent, Bill. I just don't have kids.
That's probably what does it for you.
You know what I mean? Like, you'd be surprised what you can get out here. so I'm not like Kanye West or anything. And I'm certainly I don't know influential, whatever. I just try to be as positive as I can, and try to contribute to, in terms of comics, I just try to contribute to the culture of comics. And like, when you're any guest in any house, you want to make sure you leave the place better than how you found it.
Nice. Zone 414. When can we expect that? The new movie.
Ooh, yeah. I just got off the phone with the producer today. There are moves being made on that. I can't get into it, But I would say soon. Soon you'll be able to get some more details about that one. That's something else, man. Like, that one comes together. Whew, y'all are in for something. So,
Can you tell us what genre?
oh, that one's science fiction.
Nice.
That one's
Nice.
definitely that's a sci-fi joint. So, yeah, I've got a great director attached to it. A guy named Andrew Baird. It's his first feature. And he's, music video guy, commercial guy. He directed a video for The Weeknd. That's actually how I met him, because I saw this video The Weeknd did for a song called Kissland, and I dug the video a lot, and I just reached out to him on Facebook, and we just started talking, and we went out and we had a drink, and then we just kind of got on, creatively. And this happened to be a project that he thought was really cool. And I thought it was something I was going to try to make at some point, but I just had no time. So I shared it with him, and then we've been, trying to get it together. So it looks like we've got some motion on that end. Stay tuned to my social media for more details.
Nice. Okay. Done. I'm gonna friend you on Facebook after this.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Thank you so much for taking the time out of your day. We see what you do. You do a lot. I don't know how you sleep. Like you said, you don't. So thank you for doing this.
Oh, thank you for having me, man. I apologize to listeners for not showing up when I was supposed to. That is my bad. If I ever come back, I will not do that again, because Bill's going to email me 24 hours before.
Is that what I gotta do?
Yeah, kinda. It's kind of what you got to do. But yeah, no, I'd love to come on anytime. Like when Fallen Angels comes out, if you want to talk about that, I'm happy to come back. Just whatever, man.
That is fantastic. Okay. Thank you so much.
All right, brother. I'm going to take off then, and you enjoy the rest of your weekend. Your listeners enjoy the rest of your weekend, and if I haven't pissed you off yet, follow me on Twitter at Bryan Edward Hill. That's Bryan with a Y. Why? Because we like you. At Bryan Edward Hill, and holler at me and let me know what's up.
Absolutely. And the reason why I didn't ask you about your writing and how to become a writer and stuff like that is because your YouTube channel goes into explicit detail about that. Can you plug that too?
Oh yeah, for sure. I need to put new videos up, but yes, I have a YouTube channel about writing. It's if you go to the Hill administration, because one day I will be president. So if you go to the Hill administration, I have writing videos on YouTube, and it's really like I'm not a guru. I'm not a master of craft or anything. But what I am is a person that thinks that someone should not have to pay exorbitant amount of money to get the basics of the craft, right? So what I love about YouTube is it's a free resource. You got the internet connection and all that, but it's a free resource. And so I don't try to monetize my videos. It's not a revenue stream for me. It's where I just put videos about, storytelling structure. I have a video about dealing with imposter syndrome, which is something I think we all go through.
Yeah, that's my favorite.
And I will be putting more videos up soon. It's hard for me when I'm working on Titans to do anything else, because the show just takes up so much of my time. But when I get done with my writing on the second season, I'm definitely going to put up some more videos talking about villains and how that works, and tips on writing better dialogue, and even some so you want to get an agent, so you want to get a manager. How do you chart the course? That kind of stuff. So yeah, but right now I've just got a couple of them up there. Check them out. I hope they're worthwhile. And if you have anything that you'd like me to talk about on that YouTube channel, add me on Twitter, and then let me know, because I am taking suggestions from people about what topics I should cover that would be the most beneficial to them.
You wrote 2 episodes of Titans last season, right?
I did.
How many this season?
1.
Only 1. Okay. Cool.
But it's a doozy though.
I believe it.
It's a doozy. So
Which
look for
episode?
that. I can't really say.
Okay, done.
I mean, it might be on the internet somewhere, but I don't want to give up anything, because I don't want Jeff Johns yelling at me.
No
So,
worries.
but yeah, I think season 2 premieres in September, so it's not going to be a long wait.
Okay.
It's not going to be a long wait. And so make sure you check that out, because I think we got something special coming for you there too.
Nice. I look forward to it.
All right, Brother Bill. Well, then I am going to exit stage right. And everyone have a good day. And hopefully I'll talk to you soon, brother.
Thank you much.
All right. Peace.
Bye. Okay. Well, That was a nice surprise for you guys, right? Also, Miss Megan, good day. How are you doing today? Thank you very much. I hope that you got to see the thing that I put up on. I put in my Dropbox for you, for all the patron members. The review of Batman Hush, the DVD. So yeah, that's one of the things I always try to do for you guys. Also, every so often I try to get somebody on who's gonna, be able to just show up and surprise, and I'm not gonna advertise it. So if you guys, like, my wife was like, you should advertise that Bryan Hill is coming on. I'm like, no, why would I do that? Like, I'm not trying to do this like some big things. This is just for the people who always come to the podcast because they freaking deserve it. So. Yes, ran over, and I'm glad that it did. Like, that, Bryan Edward Hill is freaking awesome. Literally, standing on a street corner in downtown LA, you heard fire trucks going by and stuff like that, and he's just like, just holding up the whole corner so that he could actually talk to you guys. I thought that was amazing. I hope that you guys appreciate it. I genuinely do. And, because Bill loves us best. I do, right? He's commenting now. Sorry I was late. All the love is yours. If only I could spell. Thank you. So, enter doesn't work. Gotta actually hit the thing. Okay, so anyway, he's like apologizing for being late. Anyway, so yeah, that's it. I'm gonna bounce now, and tell him hugs from the class. You know what? Honestly, just like he says, go on Twitter and tell him yourself. Because for real, he is one of the most engaging people on Twitter. He'll talk to whomever. Yeah. So just go on Twitter and just, thank him yourself. He'll respond, Anyway, yeah, I'm going to bounce now because it is 10:13 for me, and I know that my wife was exhausted. We were out all day. I don't know how to Twitter, but you do know how to Facebook, and he's on Facebook, so I'm going to go friend him on Facebook now, and you should too. He'll probably say yes. Thanks so much for having Bryan Hill on. I enjoyed the hell out of that, and while you guys were talking, I follow him on Twitter, and thank them for being on your show. Yeah, awesome, cool. I'm officially Professor Brother Bill. He says that on Twitter a lot, and you guys know I'm usually like, hey, what's going on, brother, like that. But like, I do feel bad saying it to somebody big time like Bryan Hill, because like he's a big deal to me. Like, he's a big deal. He's something like I want to aspire to be like Bryan Edward Hill. The guy just does so freaking much. Yeah, and I know a lot of people say I've done a lot too, but not like that. So, one day. Anyway, guys, that's it. I'm out. So, I'm going to bounce. You guys have a good night. Or over in Australia, I think your day is pretty much just beginning. So, love, peace, and hair grease. Seriously, hope you guys enjoyed. Professor Bill, Comic Book University. Much love, guys. Class dismissed.